All right, hello. Today we're gonna go over our My Perspective lesson. We're gonna go get our books, and you're gonna turn over to page 33, and we're going to read A Simple Act written by Tyler Jackson. Now, real quick, A Simple Act, I want you to create an inference of what you think the story is gonna be about. All right, so let's read the background information on A Simple Act. Okay. In a big city like New York, thousands of strangers from many different backgrounds cross paths every day. But they rarely stop on the street to get to know each other. When people from different places make the effort to connect, unexpected friendships can form. Now, has that ever happened to you? Remember, always have your highlighters ready as well. When people from different places make the effort to connect, unexpected friendships come. Have you ever had an unexpected friendship? Maybe at a summer camp, maybe taking the bus, maybe even going to someone over your mom or going to a different country and you just make an unexpected friend. Okay, let's see that. All right, let's begin. Always have your highlighters ready. So I'm gonna have my highlighter ready, have my pen ready as well. So it was the first day of September in 1986. Now, every time I read something that I know is based on a true story, clearly, I always like to have dates and numbers and names always highlighted. So the first thing I'm gonna do, and it happened in September of 1986. So we know this is our starting point. As always, anything I do, you do. So it was the first day of September 1986, and the morning rain had given the bright sunshine. Oh, I like that. I'm gonna highlight it because clearly the author's setting the tone. So it rained all morning, and then it turned into bright sunshine. Okay. So a successful advertising executive made her way across 56th Street towards Broadway on the west side. So we have executive, and I want you to go online and I want you to find the synonym. I'm going to put it right here of what an executive is. Tell me what an executive is. Okay. A young boy, all of 11 years old and dressed in scruffy clothes, asks for the some change for something to eat. So here we have our next character. So it's an 11-year-old and he's dressed in scruffy. Now, when you go into your performance task, you're gonna have to be very descriptive. They didn't just say an 11-year-old. They told us how he was dressed. Scruffy clothing. Okay, so it's more like raggedy or old or his. But the author decided to use scruffy. He has scruffy clothes and asked for some change for something to eat. Laura Schroff lowered her head and walked on. Manhattan was full of panhandlers, and she hardly even noticed him anymore. So first of all, we have a name. So let me just write this right here at the top. Things we're going to be highlighting are, this is my thing I always do, names, numbers, and places, and sometimes questions. So this is my NNPQ. Okay. So we have a number, and we also have a name. Okay. So Laura Schroff lowered her head and walked on. Where Manhattan was full of panhandlers. What is a panhandler? Let's look for a synonym or a definition. And I want you to write that right below. Write the synonym right below of what a panhandler is. All right. So let's turn to page 33 now. Now we're at the top of 34. Let's continue reading. Let me get that nice and leveled. But something drew Laura back to the boy. She still doesn't know what it was, but she calls it an invisible thread. So a thread, if you ever have seen stitching or any form of clothes, a thread is something that you put close together. Or if you want, I would say take a second real quick and look at an example of a thread online. There's an old Chinese proverb that says that an invisible thread connects two people who are destined to meet and influence to each other. Now, I have a question for you. Have you ever met someone and you felt that you were destined to meet? Okay, let me just move this in because it's looking a little funky. Make sure you guys get the best of notes. Okay. She turned back from the middle of the street and took the boy to lunch. Isn't that odd? She sees this young man on the streets. He's asking her for money. She's like, "No, let's get something to eat." Paragraph 3. The boy lived in a single room in a welfare hotel with his mother and numerous other relatives. So numerous, I'm going to highlight that because it tells us that not only is he on welfare, meaning that his family doesn't have money, but he's also living with many other relatives, okay? It was only 2 blocks away from Laura's home, but it might as well have been a different planet. As they talked over their lunch, Laura learned about the boy's life. She herself had not had an easy childhood, but what she heard shocked her. And before she left, she told him to phone her if he was ever hungry. What does that say about Laura? If she says if he ever was hungry to call her, what does that say about her? Let's highlight that right there. When she didn't hear from him after several days, she returned to the spot they had met. And there he was, in the same clothes and two tight sneakers. I'm going to highlight that as well because clearly the author's trying to tell me something. He could have just said that the that the child had sneakers, but no, the sneakers were too tight. So what can we infer or understand about the young boy? They arranged to meet again the next Monday. Every Monday, Laura Schroff. So now we have names. So every Monday, Laura. So this is the executive. So we have Laura and Maurice Mazik. So we have Maurice had dinner together. So every Monday they had dinner together. Some Mondays they ate at Laura's home, and Maurice discovered a life he had only seen on television. Oh, so what's going on in Laura's house that he's like, is this? Oh my God, I thought this only happened on television. So let's highlight that right there. What can we infer about Laura? All right. Gradually, Laura became the young boy's first role model. She encouraged him to have dreams about his future and got involved in his education. Maurice's teacher was perhaps the only person who believed in him. She made Laura take a long, hard look at what she was doing. Was she helping Maurice just as a way of helping herself? Could she commit to being there for Maurice even when she didn't feel like it? What kind of damage might it cause Maurice if she were to abandon him after becoming so important to him? So, real quick, I want to actually highlight all those questions. So, the first question was she just helping Maurice just as a way of helping herself? That's question number one. Could she commit being there for Maurice even if she didn't feel like it? And what kind of damage might happen to Maurice if she were to abandon him? So, why do you think in this section right here that the author is asking all these questions? Why do you think they had 3 questions back to back? What is the purpose of having these questions? What are they trying to get you to understand here? Okay. Laura thought it through and came to a decision. The two continued sharing dinner every Monday, and a close bond formed between them. Laura introduced Maurice to new places, new ideas, and new possibilities. Now I have a question for you right here. Why is it important for Maurice to experience new places, new ideas, and new possibilities? Think about it from your own perspective. Why should you, someone who's still very young, be introduced to new places, new idea, new possibilities? What could be the positive effect of that? Okay. And Maurice became almost like the child Laura had always wanted. So we know that Laura does not have kids. One day, she offered to make a lunch for Maurice and leave it with her doorman for him to pick up on his way to school. He asked her if she could put the lunch in a brown paper bag because then the other kids would know that someone cared about him. Oh my goodness, let's highlight that. Maurice asked her, "Can you please put her in a paper bag so the other kids can know that someone cares about me?" That's so beautiful. What does that also reveal about Maurice's life? Let's answer that. Maurice had never left the city until Laura took him to visit her sister's family on Long Island. Her memory of their trip is a favorite one. She had expected Maurice to be amazed by the huge, when we're at the top of 35, by the huge front lawn and even larger backyard. But what amazed him the most was the large dining room table where they all sat down and talked and ate together. So notice how at the beginning of, well, at the end of paragraph 34, she was like, she expected Maurice to be amazed by the huge front lawn. But what amazed him, sometimes we wouldn't want to pay attention to, is when an author repeats a word. When authors repeat words constantly, it's because it's something very important that they want to understand. So he wasn't amazed by the lawn or even the backyard. What amazed him was the large dining room table where they all sat down and talked and ate together. So the living room table. They had a really big living room table. And that's what amazed him. Why do you think that amazed him? So answer that right here. This is going to be a restate and answer question. Make sure you give me a full answer as to why that dining room table was important. Was that amazing? Okay. He declared that he only wanted a table like that when he had a family of his own. So now he has dreams. Look how he has changed. Only months earlier, Maurice had seriously doubted that he would live to be an adult. So it seems to me, based on that, that something was going on with Maurice before that. So Maurice had seriously doubted that he would live to be an adult. Notice that the word that they used was seriously. So right from there, I want you to tell me how emotionally, how do you think he felt and why? There's gonna be a RACE question or RACE question. Only one detail. Laura and Maurice's relationship lasted, and in 1997, a magazine published an article less than 1 page long about it. So here we have another number. I'm gonna highlight that one in pink so we can actually see that one. So at the beginning, I told you to highlight the where they first met, which was September of 1986. Now we're on the final page, and Laura and Maurice left for the last, and now it's 1997. So a total of 9 years had passed, and they're still talking. They're still friends. Laura's friend suggested that she write a book telling the whole story. It was 10 years before she began writing, and another 3 years before she found co writers and started seriously getting down to business. So, again, we got our numbers. So, 10 years after, and then another three. So, from 1986 to 1997, they were still friends, and then it took another 10 years. So, it's 2007, and then she finally started writing in 2010. The results of their work, An Invisible Thread, which is the title of an actual book. So let's highlight that, the name of the book. Reached #1 on the New York Times best sellers list. So the book she created actually became one of the best selling books in the United States. Today, Maurice works in construction. So now we know what he's doing in life. This is fabulous. He didn't even think he was going to be an adult. He is the first person in his family to earn a paycheck. He has a family of his own, and his children are all very fond of their Aunt Lori. If you were to visit the family's apartment, you might notice that there is no couch in the living room, but there is a huge dining room table. Okay. The writer Ernest Hemingway said, "The best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them." Let's highlight that quote. I'm going to come back to this quote. Over the years, Laura discovered the truth of that statement. She feels that Maurice has given her one of the greatest gifts she had ever had. He repaid her trust by giving her life more meaning than her success at work ever did. He taught her to be grateful for what she has and for the chance to share it. I want to reread that one more time because that is truly amazing. So, how did Maurice repay her? He repaid her trust by giving her more meaning than her success at work because she was very successful. As we saw in paragraph 1, she she was an executive, okay? She was very successful, but he gave her life more meaning. Why? He taught her to be grateful for what she has and for the chance to share it, which is a beautiful thing. Now, I want you to also go into the comprehension check on pages 36 and 37. I want to go over these questions real quick with you. So, how did Laura and Maurice meet? This is going to be a restate RACE question. What does the old Chinese proverb say connect two people from a destined to meet and influence each other? So, this one, if you paid attention, you know where to look on this particular page. The Chinese proverb, paragraph 2. This is going to be a restate and answer. Make sure you use the full restate and answer. What weekly ritual do Laura and Maurice begin after their first meeting? First of all, you have to know what a ritual is. So, a ritual is something you do all the time. So, every day, some of your parents will walk you to school and give you a hug and do the cross on your head or something. That's a ritual that you have with your parents, something you complete and do every day. So, what weekly ritual do Laura and Maurice begin after their first meeting? It's going to be a restate and answer. So, what was Maurice's favorite part of visit to Laura's sister in Long Island? This is going to be again restate and answer. Describe Maurice's adult life professionally and personally. So, professionally, what does he do professionally, and how is his personal life? This is going to be an RACE. Okay. Number 6. How did Laura share the story of her relationship with Maurice and with an audience? So, how did she share their story? Did she create a Facebook post? How did she share their story? This is going to be an RACE. And that's going to be it. I don't want you to do number 7, and that'll be all of it, okay? All right, guys. I hope you enjoy A Simple Act.